Hey everyone! Today marks 68 days since I first sustained my head injury, so as a quick update, thank you for all the kind messages I've been receiving. It means a lot because I have been spending most of my time just stuck indoors, doing nothing, just resting and dosing myself up on medication to help with travel sickness. And when I say travel sickness, I mean the sickness you get from travelling by foot. If that's not depressing enough for you. It's going to be a very gradual recovery, but positive mentality. I just got to keep going. Anyway, that aside, today I wanted to talk about childhood. Now, growing up as a kid, I'm sure you used to believe some pretty crazy things that later turned out not to be true. Now, I'm not talking about the big cliches in life, like Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy. I'm talking about more specific personal experiences. And so I thought I'd share with you today, for a bit of fun, some of the silly things I used to believe growing up as a kid. Number one, the world used to be black and white. When I first saw black and white footage on television, I honestly thought that was how life used to be back in the day. I didn't go as far as to believe that people moved around that quickly, but I did believe that colour was only a recent occurrence in life. It was only when I asked my parents at what point in life did colour come in that I realised it had always been that way. Whoops. Number two, we are full of blood. When I was little, whenever I saw someone cut themselves, you would tend to see blood pour out. And I would always think, where does that blood come from? Well, I used to think that our bodies were kind of hollow, just completely filled up with blood, with the organs, the bones, the muscles, just sitting in there. And that was how blood was everywhere around us. Well, after attending only a few basic biology classes at school, it turns out that blood is in the capillaries, the arteries, the veins. They're in blood vessels. I know, I'm such a show-off. They call me Dr. Dyer. They don't. And that'd be a terrible name for a doctor. And speaking of doctors, number three, doctors could fix anything. I think this one is a common misconception amongst children because when we are young, we do have this very simplistic view of the world. Believing that doctors could make everything better, the fact that there is no such thing as complications, human errors, negligence, or terminal illnesses. And it was losing my grandfather to cancer when I was very little that definitely shattered that misconception. But I'm sure this childhood naivety applies to many professions, such as police officers, always believing that they would get the bad guy, or politicians, they will always make society function okay. Number four, the phrase was making ends meet. Now, I always knew what the phrase actually meant, having just enough money to pay for the things that you need most. But it was the phrase itself I misunderstood. I thought it was meat as in animal flesh, not meat as in the coming together of things. I just had it in my mind that this phrase was a metaphor about only having enough money to buy the cheapest, least appetising option available at a butcher's, the end pieces of meat. Now, this fourth example of naivety, I like to class as a childhood hangover. Why? Because I only realised my mistake about that phrase 2 years ago, at the grand age of 25. Up to that point, I'd always used the phrase correctly in conversation, but never in a way that exposed to others my wrong perception of the phrase itself. For me, this proves an important point about how our knowledge can only evolve if we challenge ourselves through open and honest discussions. Living is an ever-evolving process of the heart and mind. We are born into a world we want to understand, and it's that thirst for knowledge that keeps many of us going. When children question, or anyone does, we should respect their curiosity and do whatever we can to help them discover the answers that they are after. Making ends meet may not be the most important thing to correct in the world right now, but it just goes to show that sometimes things go under the radar. Some things that we believe as a kid sticks with us through to adulthood. So finally, I'd love to hear about the strange and funny things you used to believe as a young child. Perhaps you had some childhood hangovers of your own, like the example I gave. Let us know in the comments below, or do a video response. I'd love to make this one of those YouTube tag videos. If you respond to this with a video listing your things, then consider yourself tagged. Thanks for watching as always. Be sure to click the like button and subscribe as I try and fight this head injury and try and get back into making regular videos. Thank you as always. Adios. Till next time. Doctor. Dr. Dyer.